Bastish B here for 64K and welcome to another episode of New Retro. And if you've never watched this show before, basically I look at a new retro game that's been released on an old system, and then we look at the inspiration game, the game that might have inspired it. And today's games are... So let's first jump back and check out the inspiration game. Bomberman was originally released in 1983 by Hudson Soft. Most people associate the game with the NES and Nintendo, but that version didn't arrive until 1987. The original version was released in Japan as Bakudan Otoko on all the popular Japanese computers of the era, such as the NEC PC8801, Fujitsu FM7, and MSX. A Japanese Famicom port eventually released in 1985 and is considered the first official console release. The NES version is seen as an upgrade of the original. The game itself was as simple as it gets, with its arcade-style maze action gameplay. Your goal is to exit each level before the time runs out, but first you have to find the exit, which involves blowing up the tiles with your bombs to try to uncover it, as well as dodging and destroying the enemies that come after you. There are also hidden items that can, for example, increase your blast radius of your bombs or speed you up, etc, etc. Overall, there were 50 levels to blast your way through, and although it's not the original version of this classic character, it's considered the true start of the series in look, style, and gameplay. The series would later become more associated with its couch co-op multiplayer modes and even later online versions. Currently, there are over 70 different games in this series, ranging from kart races to adventure games and many other genres. And now let's look at the new retro-inspired game. With such a massive library of games and game styles, the C64 never actually received a port of Bomberman, or many clones for that matter. A late 1992 C64 game release called Bug Bomber by Kingsoft was probably the closest the system ever got to a Bomberman style game, at least during the system's 1982 to 1993 original period. But that all changed in 2013 when Bomberland 64 was released by RGCD. This game is obviously a well-crafted ode to Bomberman and not really the original, but some of the more later ones in the series, which added the elaborate multiplayer aspects and much more chaotic action. Gameplay is the same as I talked about earlier, with the biggest difference being the pace, and it being even more in the style of a faster-paced arcade game. It still has all the wacky power-ups like speed and bomb radius, and a multitude of massive, very cool boss battles as well. Being based on later Bomberman games means not only do you get an excellent 36-level single-player experience with its full own story, but you also get all those fun multiplayer death matches from the more chaotic titles like Saturn Bomberman. The death matches also support 2 to 5 players with the help of Protovision's 4-player adapter that works with your original C64. It's always very cool to see such well-implemented support for this peripheral. This game is excellent on all fronts, from its high-res detailed graphics, awesome pumping SID music, the excellent single and multiplayer options, and of course tight responsive controls. I think coder Mikhail Okawicki did a stellar job that was apparently 10 years in the making. This game is also free as a digital download from RGCD, and I'll leave a link to their site. It's also available in this excellent physical version on cartridge with a ton of extras. Currently, as of making this, it's sold out, but maybe some new stock will be produced. Overall, even if you're not a fan of Bomberman's multiplayer aspects, this version's single-player experience is a great treat for anyone wanting a fun, easy to get into arcade romp. And thanks for joining me, Bastish B at 64K. I hope you had a good time. If you can like and subscribe, that'll be greatly appreciated, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.